Hi. All right. Does anyone else feel like these last 2 years have been transformational? Like, I know they were hell for a lot of us, but even with that, we came out better, stronger, more in tune with ourselves, right? By show of hands, how many of you began to reflect on your life during this time? Yeah. And how many of you wanted to make the world a better place? Me too. I just didn't feel safe. For the first time in 53 years, I was afraid of living while Black. I was afraid to drive, to be in unfamiliar places, to even walk down the street. The media had me under the impression that we were on the brink of civil war because racism was on the rise. Now, I sensed there was something more powerful going on behind the scenes, our need for connection. We'd been isolated for so long, how could hate be on the rise when everyone I knew wanted hugs? You see, in the chaos that 2020 would bring, it also brought my life purpose, to be, teach, and spread love. And I knew I couldn't do that shivering in the house. I needed to get out and work through my fear, and also I needed some answers. I wanted to know if people were craving connection, or were they determined to be divisive? Now, my mother had a saying, if you want to know how somebody feels, don't go ask somebody else. Go get it from the horse's mouth. So at the end of 2021, that's exactly what I did. Me, my pooch, and my purpose set off on a cross-country trip. Along the way, I talked to total strangers about love. Between my home in Monterey, California, and Macon, Georgia, I talked to over 50 people. Most of them didn't look like me, and some, I judged, wouldn't want to talk to someone like me. Not one person turned me away. And they all agreed that love is the bridge that connects us. My favorite story happened in Alabama. I remember crossing the state line and seeing the Welcome to Sweet Home Alabama sign, and I thought this will be a great place to stop and get food, until I saw that Confederate flag standing tall above the trees. Now, I ain't gonna lie, my first inclination was to keep right on driving until that Cracker Barrel sign got my attention. I had to pop in for pancakes. The hostess and I started up a conversation, and it didn't take her long to other me, say something to remind me that I was Black, just in case I might have forgot when I woke up that morning. And she also said some things to let me know we were on opposite sides of the political aisle. Now, ordinarily, I would tune people like that out. How many of you tune people out that don't say what you think they should say or agree with what you agree with? Right, except I'm committed to lead with love. And love listens. It's open-minded, it's vulnerable, and it shows empathy. So as uncomfortable as I was, I chose to show her love. She seated me near the window so I could keep an eye on my dog, and almost on cue, Tashi popped up in the driver's seat. The minute the hostess saw her, and all her cuteness, the conversation changed. And now we're talking about our dogs. And I'm telling her about Tashi's shenanigans, and there were plenty on this road trip. And she's telling me about her dogs, and her husband, and her family. When the waitress came over to take my order, she was instructed to take very good care of me because I was a VIP. On the way out, I took a picture of the hostess, and I asked her, "Do you believe love is the bridge that connects us?" And she said, "Absolutely. We don't have to agree with each other to love each other." And how right she was. We had just crossed that bridge of love to connection, which got me thinking, what is holding us back from truly connecting with one another at the human level? Because we don't have to agree with each other to love each other. We don't even have to like each other to love each other. Which made me think, what's standing in the way? And it dawned on me, it's not wealth, and it's not power. It's race. Race is what's standing in the way because race makes us lose our humanity and all sense of common decency. We've been conditioned to believe that Black is bad and white is good. Even our conditioning has been conditioned. But why? If the Creator wanted us to have a black and white world, that's what we would have. Instead, we've been gifted this beautiful, vibrantly colored world, filled with the possibilities of what we could create together, and race came along and shoved all the colors into the corner so white could dominate. Now you go try and paint a beautiful picture with that. Because here's the thing. We are all of the species Homo sapiens, all of us. There are no superior sapiens. Superiority was appropriated through stolen histories, colonization, the massacre of native people, slavery, Jim Crow, lynching, basically hate. It wasn't earned. And if you've been paying attention for the past 400 years, race has done far more harm than it's ever done good. Which says to me the only reason race exists is so racism has space to breathe. And racism is learned behavior. We're not designed to hate or mistreat one another. That's a choice people make. Just like systemic racism isn't some untouchable machine. It's made up of individuals who choose to do harm. But we know better. So we should make better choices and then hold ourselves accountable to them. Starting with putting race out of our misery and creating a new social construct. Care. Care allows us to lead unconditionally with love. It starts, though, with you making a commitment to love yourself. Because when you love you, you can love me despite our differences. You know how I know? Because I love me so much, I can love all of y'all just as you are. What gets us in trouble is when we allow fear, ego, judgment, and trauma to lead us. Those things fuel racism and all the other isms. It's so much easier to lead with love. And here's how you can start. Listen with a willingness to learn. Create your own Cracker Barrel experiences. Who are those people in your life that you avoid because of your opposing viewpoints? Reach out to them. And this time, instead of telling them how they're wrong or how they should think, just listen. Open your heart so your mind can follow. While it may be true that you know what you know and you know what you don't know, what's also true is you don't know what you don't know. So open your mind to the possibility of a different perspective, a different way of thinking, or a different lived experience. In your silence, you may learn something you couldn't hear before. And then be willing to be vulnerable. I promise you, no one has ever died for saying, I don't know. What if you could admit what you don't know for the sake of greater understanding? What possibilities could you create, not only for yourself, but for the other person? And then practice empathy. Try to understand why they think or feel the way that they do. It's not about you, so suspend your disbelief and kick your judgment to the curb. Empathy allows us to accept someone else's reality, someone else's thinking or beliefs, unconditionally. That's what it looks like to lead with love. And it's really easy. It's a choice you get to make. A choice to care, despite the color of someone's skin. Care allows us to be kind, humble, generous, and compassionate. Care celebrates our differences. Care inspires us to be courageous and support one another. Care is comfortable being uncomfortable. And even when care doesn't like you, care still leads with love. And here's the thing. When we're all operating in care, we are love in action. Thank you.